Let's put the spotlight on HUDCO and connect with Sanjay Kulshrestha, who is the Chairman Managing Director, now joining in. Good to have you on board. Now, there's been that recent MOU that's been signed with the Gujarat government, 14,500 crore rupees. Give us some details in terms of what are the terms of this MOU, what is the tenure, from when will it start actually yielding results for the company?
We had signed a MOU under this Vibrant Gujarat program, and the total loan which will be extended by HUDCO is around rupees 14,500 crores. We are working very closely with the state of Gujarat, which is one of the most progressive state. A lot of projects, infrastructure works are going in the state. And we had identified, starting from the roads, sewage treatment, housing, urban infrastructure, all the projects had been discussed and identified. Very soon, the project financial closure will be starting. We are working very closely with the state government. You may be knowing here, HUDCO as a brand, they are an infrastructure company which is responsible for financing and even extending the consultancy and training institutes. So very soon, I think in Q4, the financial closure of the respective projects will be starting, and HUDCO will be sanctioning and start disbursement of those funds.
Right. So how much of this will go towards housing and how much of it will be towards urban infra?
Actually, primarily these funds will be utilized for creation of urban infrastructure. So basically housing, since Government of India has came up with a very ambitious program of housing for all, and which was an ambitious program of the government. So government is extending most part of the housing for all. And if required, state government wants to suffice some requirement of the state, then HUDCO will be ready to extend that kind of facilitation.
Okay, point taken. But you said from Q4 the financial closures will be starting. So does this mean that the entire amount will actually be disbursed in FY25 and that is when it will reflect in the financials?
Yeah, you are right. Actually, as a financial institution, we are prudent regarding the disbursement to be made. And once the progress of the project will start, the disbursement will also come. Generally, infrastructure projects takes around 2 to 3 years of the time for implementation. So I'm not sure that everything will be disbursed during next financial year, but within 2 to 3 financial year, all the loans will be disbursed.
Okay, Sanjay. So those were the details coming in on the MOU that you have signed with Gujarat government. But any other such MOUs in the works as well?
Yes, there are many more. We are working with the states, many more in various states which are coming up. And you see, there is a push from the Government of India on infrastructure. And HUDCO, since being a Government of India company, we are being associated with a lot of infrastructure programs of Government of India. And we are working with the states as well. And this is our USP to finance the infrastructure projects. So the pipeline is very, very huge across all the states, and even for the Government of India programs of the Metro or Jal Jeevan missions, we are supporting and to states as a bridge lenders. We are working with many states. Only we have to we are strategically planning our MOU, what will be the date of the MOU. But there are many MOUs which are under finalization.
Right. And the sanction in the first half has been lower compared to what we witnessed last year. Are there any signs of a reversal in the second half?
Yes, I am sure, because the targets are very high. For the company, we had taken a target of around 50,000 crore sanction during this financial year, and we have only Q4 left. Projects are there, and I am very confident and sure that HUDCO will be sanctioning 50,000 crores during this financial quarters. Apart from the sanctions, we are also working on the disbursement side. We have a target of 25,000 crores under the disbursement, and I'm sure that we will be achieving, which will be multifold in comparison with the previous financial years, because there is a lot of potential which is untapped, and HUDCO is a player who are well versed since our ratios are also good, market is also supporting us. We are getting cheaper funds also, which will make the infrastructure more sustainable. That's why we had kept this target. And if you see presently, our loan book is around 82,000 crores, We are working towards that. Within 2 years of the time, our loan book growth will be around 1.5 lakh crores.
And you did mention about the FY24 disbursement target, but given that there's capex-led growth plans of central and various state governments, can you share with us any targets for your loan disbursal for FY25?
25, because lot of sanctions, as I have already said, that we had only achieved around 18,000 crores of the sanction, and another, we have a target of 50,000 crores. So I am not setting presently the target of disbursement for next financial year, but for sure that they will be set in the month of March. Lot of projects are already identified. Only the disbursement schedule has to be discussed with the state and the state government entities.
No, I completely appreciate that, but at least if you could tell us what will it be higher as compared to FY24 and FY25?
This I can say with all probabilities that it will be much higher than FY24. Actually, there are reasons for making this statement because we are penetrating across the sectors and we are coming out of lot of financial models, and we are customizing our policy framework as well. So I'm pretty sure that with this push of the Government of India for infrastructure, we will be having much more kinds of disbursements.
Okay, you're sounding fairly confident about disbursements, but on the borrowing side, I think for FY24, the borrowing plan stood at 18,000 crore. In H1, you have raised around 8,200 crores out of that 18,000. Do you think you have sufficient funds to lend going forward, or will you be looking at raising the remaining 10,000 crore in the short span of the year which is left now?
See, we had already started taking money from the FCNR. We had already taken $280 million. We are also planning to hit the ECB market of Japan in February. If required, we will revise our borrowing plans from the board, which is on the card, and borrowing from all resources to cut down the cost to make the infrastructure sustainable. We are working on that. I'm pretty sure that 25,000 crores of the target we will be achieving, and borrowing and the competitive and cheaper funds will not be an issue for us.
And your cost of funds have increased off late. So what is the average that you're seeing for FY24 and even an outlook maybe on FY25, given that interest rates are expected to lower?
Yeah, we are also keeping our fingers closed, and we want that rates should start melting down. Currently, we had already worked upon, as I have already said, on the FCNR side, which will clearly cut down our cost. During this financial year, our cost is around 7.46, and during up to last financial year, it was 7.7. So we had already worked upon around 15 basis point, and by this year end, the total cut down of the cost of the fund I'm expecting will be around 25 basis point. And regarding the overview of the next financial year, as all the regulators have already indicated, and there are enough signals in the market, that interest will start melting down after second quarter. So we are very hopeful, and we are working very closely with our project entity. But at the end of the day, I can make a statement that it will not affect the HUDCO because our resets are also keeping in line with the markets. So we have a benchmark, baseline benchmark kind of concept where we reset our loans in line with our borrowings. So our bottom line will not get affected.
Okay, and your net interest margins in the first half, they've been around 3.22% to 3.24%. Can we say that NIMs have bottomed out? Will the net interest margins remain around these levels, or an uptick can be expected?
There will be slight uptake in Q4 since we are working towards cutting down the cost of funds, and the resets will come and the cost of borrowing will be reduced. So there will definitely upside on the NIM. But from the next year, I think the better results you can foresee for the better results.
That's interesting. But going forward, your focus will continue to remain on urban infrastructure, or do you plan to increase the penetration in the small and medium towns as well, the upcoming smart cities, because that is where a lot of investment is being made?
Actually, our appetite is full from the opportunity in the infrastructure sector. So we will be concentrating our efforts more on the urban infrastructure side. When I am talking about the urban infrastructure, it starts from the transport to energy transition. So we will be financing in every sector across the segments.
Okay, shifting focus, because earlier there were some issues with many of the state governments having high amounts of debt, and there were delays in the payment as well, and this has impacted the cash flow of the company and even NPA levels to that matter. Going forward, do you see resolution of all of this happening, and are things looking better?
As on date, no state government is delaying our payment. We are working very, very closely, and we had a very robust corporate governance system. So now presently there is no delay from the state governments, and we are actually regulating the exposures of the states also, so that there should not be any problem. We are studying their GSDP, FRBM, and everything being looked into, and then only the financing being extended to the states.
And lastly, can you give us an outlook on the loan book growth guidance for FY25?
I think within next 2 years of time, the loan book will be from 82,000, it will grow and be at around 1.5 lakh crores. That is our target also. And I think that will not be a problem looking at the opportunities available for the funding in the country.
Really appreciate your time. So glad you could join us and accommodate this interview request. Appreciate it.